Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of our 32-part special series, Joe Knows the 2021 NFL Draft Class. And today we're going to be covering the Miami Dolphins. Bienvenidos a Miami, baby. So, but before we get into the content, before we even go any further, you're probably wondering, Joe, you're in your house. Why are you wearing sunglasses? Well, I figure I'm going to stick with the Miami theme here. If I'm in Miami, I'd be wearing sunglasses, so that's my theme. But you know what? As I'm kind of doing this, I'm kind of digging it, and I'm thinking maybe I'll keep rolling with this to maybe develop an on-stage persona. We'll see where it goes, but I'm kind of digging it right now. But anyway, before we get into the content, let me get the bells and whistles out of the way here. Let me tell you where you can find the show, how you can support us. You can find us in many different formats. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and you can catch us on Facebook on two different pages. The first one is Toilets to Titles, of course, and the other one is When a Family Breaks. So hit that like and subscribe button and help us out. In fact, don't just hit it, pound it, pound it, pound it. It really helps us out a lot. We're really trying to grow the channel. We're making great strides in that, and we're continuing to grow it more. We have a great team here, putting a lot of time in, a lot of great content in both, especially the fantasy football side as well as the NFL side, which we're developing more, and which we have more material on when the NFL season actually rolls around. Give us a 5-star review. If you could please go to Apple. If you listen to the show there, give us a 5-star review. Even if you don't listen to the show on Apple, go to Apple, give us a 5-star review anyway. That really helps us out a lot. And you can also find us now on patreon.com/toilets to titles, and that's where you can go and figure out where you can learn how to support the show. We really, really appreciate it. So now, on to the content. Miami Dolphins. First of all, before we get into the draft class real quick, your rebuild is going fantastic. Some other teams, I love their rebuild as well. Off the top of my head, the New York Jets, but obviously their rebuild is started from scratch. Miami Dolphins, you're much further along, and man, you guys are doing it real well. I'm not a Miami Dolphins fan, but they're one of my backup teams. I'm actually a Giants fan, but I have a few teams that I root for on the side, especially when my team isn't doing well, which the Giants haven't been for a long time. Those teams are the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Browns as well. And I'll get into the reasons why I support them when I'm doing those episodes. But the Dolphins, I grew up in the 1980s. I'm a huge fan of Dan Marino, and I'm also an NFL fan, an NFL history fan. And I love the Don Shula days in the 70s and the 80s. I love the unbeaten team, the repeat champions in the early 70s. I love the town of Miami. I love Florida. Miami's sexy. I'm glad you guys are do this rebuild right, and you put the sexy back in the Miami Dolphins. I love the blue, I should say the teal. I love the orange. I love the Dolphin insignia. I love it all, and I'm really glad that this rebuild is going so well for your team. I'm really happy for you, and I'll tell you right now, if I were a high-priced, highly valued NFL free agent, the Miami Dolphins are definitely one of the teams I'd be looking to go to. So I'm really happy to do this episode. I'm a big fan of what you're doing, and I definitely have a big place in my heart for Miami Dolphins. But let's move on to the real content here, and that is the Miami Dolphins 2021 NFL Draft Class. Jaelen Waddle. I have a big place in my heart for Jaelen Waddle. You guys got him in the first round. Oh, first of all, you know what? Before I go any further, I love what you guys did here. You had 7 picks in the entire draft. Now most teams roll into a draft with 7 picks. That's one pick per round. You guys had 7 picks, but you had 2 7th-round picks, and the other 5 were in the first 3 rounds. So that is, you had 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 1 3rd-round pick. I mean, talk about taking care of business. That is fantastic. You went in there, you got great value. First 3 rounds, picks that you really want, and then you can sit back to the 7th round and take basically whoever fits what you need, and whoever may have been like a 5th-round pick that fell to the 7th round, and that's how you rolled, and I loved it. So you got maximum impact for your picks. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So Jaelen Waddle, we'll move on to the first-round pick here, the first of the first-round picks. Jaelen Waddle, wide receiver. My favorite wide receiver in this draft. I realize that Jamar Chase is the #1, and that's how he should be. But I have to say, my favorite wide receiver in this draft was Jaelen Waddle. If I were filling out that draft card and I could actually choose from the 2, I have to admit I would have filled in the name Jamar Chase, but Jaelen Waddle would have been pulling at my heartstrings because I think he's fantastic. He does it all. He obviously can play the slot. He can play the outside. He can do whatever you want, and he's fantastic at it. The guy is an incredible athlete, and this guy is a legit #1 wide receiver. I don't care what his size is. This guy is a legit #1 wide receiver. He can blow the top off the defense. He can run. He can run routes like OBJ. He is fantastic. I absolutely love this guy. This is a home run pick. It's easy to say when you're taking a player the sixth pick in the first round. It's easy to say home run, but I am emphatically saying home run. I love the pick. And I'm glad that you went there, and I'm glad that Jaelen Waddle, he was injured at the beginning of last year. He did play. He didn't take the COVID exemption. But he got injured early in the season, and obviously Devonta Smith came on, and he became a phenom as well. He took over the place of Jaelen Waddle, became a phenom. I'm glad that Jaelen Waddle didn't take any type of drop in the draft because of that injury. I'm glad because he got taken early in the first round, just like he deserved it. And what an exciting pick that is. You guys are building such an exciting team. I'm really excited for you. You guys are just looking awesome. And then your second pick in the first round at pick number 18, Jaelen Phillips. You guys got, on paper, the best edge rusher, best pass rusher in this draft, the best edge at least, and really good, excellent all-around player, 3-down player. There's really no doubt, I have no doubt as to this guy's ability being a legitimate 3-down player. He can do it all. He can certainly, get after the quarterback. He can also play the run. He can play the pass well enough. He's good at all facets of his position. And this is a guy where you kind of got lucky here, falling to number 18, because this is a talent that if he had been drafted number 10, 11, 12, most people would not have even blinked. So this was, but the reason why he probably even just fell to 18 only was because of his history of concussions in college, which is definitely worrisome. Because listen, the way I see it is that you are going to get concussed in the NFL, but to already have like 3 concussions in college is worrisome. But the guy's talent cannot be argued. And when you took him at number 18, man, I'll tell you, as a Giants fan, I was kind of hoping he was going to fall to 20. I'm not surprised he didn't at all. The guys got him at 18. Man, I love it. You got this at least the second best wide receiver in my opinion in the draft, and then you got the best edge in the draft as well, Jaelen Phillips. Well done, guys. Well done. Well done. In the second round, the 4th pick in the second round, you got Jevon Holland, safety out of Oregon. Now, this guy may wind up being the best safety in this draft. If he had gone like back end of the first round, wouldn't have been a surprise at all. Say like number 24, 25. For me, it wouldn't have been a surprise because I think he's a really good player. What I love about him too is that not only is he a good safety, he can play the slot as well. And the versatility that's required in the secondary these days, in terms of defending against such a pass-happy league, it's needed. And Jevon Holland brings that versatility. So he's a really good safety in his own right, but he can also play the slot. So this guy is a heck of a talent. This is another home run pick right, in the second round. It was fantastic talent. I love the guy. And then moving on to the, and real quick, going back to Jevon Holland and the safety. I love the safety position. I love the tight end position on the offense, and I love the safety position on the defense. These are 2 positions that, in my opinion, when you're a solid player at those positions, they require versatility. That's what I love about them. With a tight end, for me, the ideal tight end, a real NFL tight end, a real one. I mean, you give me someone like a Jimmy Graham who can go out and, catch a whole bunch of receptions, passes, and, rack up like 1,000 or 1,100 yards. That's awesome. Don't get me wrong. For me, a real NFL tight end, the type that I like, is a guy who can bring the A game to all facets of what the position requires. That is pass blocking very well, run blocking very well, and also being able to go out, and you don't necessarily have to be a receiving stud, but you have to be a reliable option who can go out, find the open spaces, can run the seam route, can get those key 3rd down receptions or even in the end zone. That, for me, that's a great tight end. For the safety position, I love the safety position because obviously they're not cornerbacks, they're not as sexy as a shutdown corner. But man, when you have the safety who can cover a wide receiver, a third down, like a third wide receiver option, or even more importantly, a tight end, and then you can also come up and play the play the run as well. I love that. You know, you can play the pass, you can play the run. I love positions that require versatility like that. So I'm a huge fan of the safety position and the tight end position. And with Javon Holland just going on about him a little longer than maybe I should. I love what you got here. He's just a good player. Now, Liam Eichenberg, second round, your second round pick number 10, Liam Eichenberg. This is a guy I love. In another video, the Bills video, I was talking about how this is a very deep draft for the offensive line. And again, I think Liam Eichenberg, if this draft class hadn't been so deep on the O line, he might have been more of like a mid to late first round pick. And I feel like I saw a lot of mock drafts that had him going kind of like back into the second, maybe third round. I think him going the 10th pick in the second round was fair value. I love this guy. I love the versatility he brings from Notre Dame. Notre Dame is one of those schools that knows how to produce offensive linemen. For me, it's Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Iowa. Those three schools right off the top of my head. You see offensive line come out of those schools, you should be foaming at the mouth because they know what they're doing. And Notre Dame certainly knows what they're doing. They produce so many good offensive linemen over the past 5 to 10 years. So Liam Eichenberg, the guy can play both sides in terms of tackle. He can play left, he can play right tackle. You could also possibly play him at the guard positions, or at least one of the guard positions. But this guy is going to be a legitimate starter. I'm not sure what their plans are in terms of having him start from day one. I'm not sure really what the depth is on the line for the Miami Dolphins. But one day this guy is going to be starting for you, and he's going to be a damn solid starter. And if not a tackle, probably guard. But he is going to start. I think you're going to be really happy with this guy. Notre Dame knows how to produce offensive line talent. Be happy. This guy was good. As a Giants fan, I had my eyes on this guy in the second and third round, and he went to you guys early in the second round. Congratulations, he's awesome. Now, Hunter Long, tight end out of Boston College. First of all, Hunter Long. It's my understanding that this guy, he really, he didn't have he wasn't really he wasn't used all that heavily in the receiving game at Boston College. They're more of like a running school. But this is a guy who can catch the ball, and he's got reliable hands as well, and he can block. The 18th pick of the third round, I like this pick a lot. Again, I love the tight end position. I think Hunter Long is or will develop into being an all-around tight end, and I think you got your future starter here. So really good pick. Also, Boston College. I shouldn't say love, but I really like how Boston College talent tends to translate to the NFL. Boston College obviously they're not Alabama, they're not Clemson, they're not University of Miami, they're not Georgia, they're not some of the bigger programs out there. But when someone from that school is drafted to the NFL, they're usually a safe bet. If not necessarily a star or starter, at least as a backup player or a very valuable utility role type of player. Usually when they're drafted, you can count on these guys to contribute something. So I like the pick a lot. I think you did really well here. I think you got your future tight end. If not this year, your future starting tight end. If not this year, then maybe next year or the year after that. But I think this is a really solid pick. Now, your 2 7th-round picks. I'm going to say I wasn't really all that familiar with them. I especially was not familiar with Larnell Coleman. Me, myself, I start reading up on NCAA players coming into the draft, like at least 3, maybe 4 months leading up to the draft. I love it. I love reading up on these guys. I watch videos as well, but I also love reading up on them from as many different sources as I can get my hands on. But I have to admit, I was not familiar with Larnell Coleman, so I did some reading up on him before I went to record this video. And you know what? 7th-round pick, your 3rd pick in the 7th round, offensive tackle out of Massachusetts. What I read up on about this guy is that this guy is a perfect pick for the 7th round. You're looking for traits that you can work with. And here is Larnell Coleman, offensive tackle out of Massachusetts, 6'6", who apparently has length and athleticism. Now, for an offensive tackle, that is what you're looking for. You're looking for that in the 7th round. You're looking for that diamond in the rough that you can mold into being something special. And he's got the traits with the length and athleticism to possibly become an eventual starter. And if not a starter, then maybe valuable depth. But in the 7th round, you can't go wrong with this. This just sounds like a great pick in the 7th round. I absolutely love it. And then Jared Dokes. I'm a little more familiar with this player because I was reading up on running backs a lot before the draft. Running back, Cincinnati Bearcats, baby. He was drafted with your last pick, the 17th pick in the 7th round. And he was the #1 running back for 3 years for the Bearcats. And he averaged about 5 yards per carry. He's 5'11", 228 pounds. This guy's got some built-in. He's got some depth. I love running backs like that. Guys, maybe an inch or two under 6 feet, 228 pounds. These guys are just gonna bowl you over. And especially if they have real heart and they just don't care about taking a licking when they're going through those lines, this guy just sounds like someone, man. If he doesn't develop into an eventual starter, which he probably won't, you're looking at very good depth here at the very least, I think, with Dokes. But what I read up on him, and I have posted here on the bottom of the screen, is that he's capable as a receiver and a pass blocker, and he was averaging 5 yards per carry. Really, what more do you want from a running back there? He was the starter for 3 years at Cincinnati. What more do you want from a running back? I mean, it sounds like the traits there of a guy, the potential for a guy who could maybe develop into a starter for your 7th-round pick, even if he winds up being your #3 running back, guy, short yardage guy or something. You don't have to. You can play him in the 3rd down if he can pass protect, and he's pass blocking as well as good at pass blocking. You can't ask for more than that. That's awesome. I mean, the value guys got here. That's awesome. So that pretty much covers the entire Miami draft class here. You guys did really well. I love what you're building. And just one other short note too is that I'm really glad that you stuck with Tua. I know there was a lot of I know there was a lot of talk this year about the Dolphins possibly moving on from Tua. I think that's crazy talk. Just 2 years ago, any team rebuilding, looking for a franchise quarterback, would have been foaming at the mouth to have Tua, as their quarterback to build around. And maybe he got injured, maybe he needs to develop more. Of course, that's only normal. But this is a guy who's got so much potential, so much ceiling, so exciting. Never forget what he did at Alabama, especially when he first stepped onto the world stage there in that championship game against Georgia when Alabama was down big and he led a second half comeback. Never forget what this guy's potential is. I'm glad you stuck with Tua. I think it was the right move. So anyway, let me wrap up the show here. As you can see, all of our contributors, all of our team members here at Toilets and Titles, this is where you can find us on Twitter. You can find me specifically at JoeJ_Clark. You can find the show at Toilets to Titles on Twitter. And again, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. Give us that 5-star Apple review for a shot at a free entry to the Frankenstein League. The Frankenstein League is our fantasy league that we've started for listeners, where we participate with the listeners. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is my first year that I'm going to be doing it. I'm really looking forward to it. So definitely look into that. We'd love to have you in the Frankenstein League. Our rules are a little different, but a lot of fun. It's going to be exciting. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. I love talking about the Miami Dolphins. A lot of fun. You guys have so many good years just to look forward to over the next 3, 4, 5 years, if not longer. So listen, again, Bienvendios a Miami. This is Joe coming at you, and I'm signing out.